To all the George Orwell 1984 enjoyers, this one is straight up for you, because I recently went down this rabbit hole of North Korean smartphones, and the amount of stuff that I learned about this, it is mind-boggling. I thought surveillance had gone too far in many places around the world. I live in America, but in many other places too. But oh boy, you are not ready for what I'm about to tell you. So I watched Mrwhosetheboss's video, which was amazing, and he actually got his hands on a North Korean smartphone and broke down everything that's going on with those phones and how they operate.
These are two extremely rare phones from North Korea.
And let me just give you the cliff notes first of how they operate. So for example, if you type the name of the literal neighbor country that they were once united, South Korea, and you type South Korea in Korean, it autocorrects to puppet state.
So if I write Namhan, this means South Korea. The second that I hit the spacebar, that gets autocorrected to puppet state. You physically cannot send the word Namhan even if you try.
Or for example, if you type Kim Jong-un, the North Korean dictator's name, it automatically boldens it like he's like a deity, like he's a god over there.
If you type Kim Jong-un, the name of the current leader, into any app, it will make the text bold the second you finish the word.
And it makes sense, but I honestly thought that a lot of this was actually blown out of proportion before, because I know there's a lot of misinformation about North Korea and people sometimes make it seem like a much bigger deal than it is. But with these phones, I gotta say, this is what it is. It is incredible. But then I keep watching, and like things that I give for granted every day and like I use every day, like slang words, those are autocorrected by the North Korean government, and you get a warning on your phone because you naughty boy, you better not use slang words on my phones.
Or how all sorts of South Korean slang is just subtly corrected to the more proper North Korean approved way of saying the same thing.
And then on top of that, there's no Wi-Fi feature, so you can't access your brain rot, TikTok, Reels, Shorts, whatever you watch. There's none of that here. You do not have Wi-Fi at all. You wouldn't be able to watch this video. The only internet that they have is an intranet that's run by the North Korean government, and the only things that you can access are things that are extremely heavily filtered through. And what's funny is that a lot of the content that's available there is just ripped off of Netflix, Amazon shows, and all other things like that. And they literally do a screen recording of those shows, and they put this North Korean logo in front of it as like claiming that they own this.
And on the face of it, you're like, oh, this is really premium, how professionally produced. But look a little closer, and you can see this is actually ripped straight from an Amazon Prime series.
Even like pictures of like soccer players of like video games that you can play on their phones, they're literally ripped off from other companies in Japan. And the actual phone itself, it's mostly completely ripped off from a Huawei phone, which is the biggest cell phone company in China, and most of the things are just literally just ripped off from those Chinese phones. But what's mind-blowing about this is that these phones at launch, they cost about $1,000 US, and they are so bad that it shows you how much of a luxury item this is in North Korea, that they cost so much, because that phone in the United States would probably cost about $150, but over there it costs $1,000, even though everything is censored and blocked, to the point that this blew my mind. Every 5 minutes, that phone takes a literal screenshot of your screen to see what you're up to, and that is sent to the government offices of people that are reviewing it. Can you imagine like a North Korean FBI agent watching you watch like straight up brain rot and like seeing your screenshots and being like, is this person actually dangerous or not? Like, this is how far their surveillance state goes over there with cell phones. Other things, I know they're not exactly as they're portrayed a lot of times, but with this, it is completely true. And they block all foreign content entirely. When you go on the Maps app, like Apple Maps or Google Maps or whatever here in the United States, there it's completely different. When you zoom out, you can only see North Korea. And outside of North Korea, the rest of the world is like out of bounds. Like you haven't loaded those chunks yet in Minecraft. It is literally that bad. You can only see North Korea, and a lot of things are still censored in those maps.
It doesn't show a clear dividing line between North and South Korea, and also doesn't let you zoom any further out than the country itself.
And these phones are so rare and so hard to get your hands on that you have to be like a government worker to get them. And it's more like a loyalty test than actually trying to give you something for you to enjoy on your free time and like have fun, watch dumb videos like this one. But actually what they're doing is like they're testing you. They're watching you from behind the bush. They're like, what is this guy up to? And it made me think a lot truly about how grateful I am to have access to the worldwide internet and be able to interact with with people all over the world and actually exchange ideas, something that people in North Korea unfortunately cannot do. They cannot watch a video like this one criticizing their own government, which we can. We can watch one, even though a lot of it is controlled by algorithms and stuff. We can actually speak our mind for the most part and say what we think and not have this completely censored world around us. And after that, I continued doing research after watching this video, and I landed on this article by Vice, which usually completely misses the point. We know how Vice works. But this one, actually, I think they had some good points. And they tell the story of this 24-year-old girl who fled North Korea in 2023. And the crazy thing is that she grew up there thinking that every other nation on earth was monitoring its citizens' every move and suffocating their speech, just like North Korea does. And it was only through smuggle media that she learned it was the other way around. I thought the other countries lived with this control, she told the BBC. But then I realized that it was only in North Korea. Can you imagine though, like, put yourself in those shoes for a second. I don't want to be that funny for this video. I want to actually talk. This is a serious problem. Imagine being in her shoes for a second and like the entire world, you know, is completely controlled to the point that all of your information coming in, there's absolutely no freedom of choice, no freedom of thought or anything like that. And I know many people in the comments are going to say, yes, but our algorithms are very manipulated and you get certain types of information. And I get it. And I agree with you. But you can't say that we are living in this world. This is some of the worst stuff I've ever seen. And I've thought about like a million different ways that I could try to dodge this system and like using a VPN or like other things, but it is so tough that you'll get caught right away. That's literally why they have this every 5 minutes a screenshot is taken off your phone. And if you try to leave the country, forget about it. Because we know, for example, that when these North Korean soldiers went to the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, I don't want to say other words because I don't want to get demonetized or banned, but in general, when these soldiers went to that conflict, they finally had access to the internet because they were outside of North Korea, and so many of them were just committing mutiny. They were just leaving the military and trying to escape North Korea because they finally had free access to the internet and they were outside of North Korea where it was easier to just escape. And yes, a lot of that was because they had access to certain websites, which I don't want to name, but that is something that they do not have in North Korea. Which, all jokes aside, it is oddly so similar to The Man in the High Castle. It's an Amazon show. They're not paying me a dime to say this, but it's a show that I honestly enjoyed it. If you're an alternative history nerd, you might like it. I bet a lot of you have seen this. But in that show, the Germans win World War II and they take over America. They split it with Japan, and the censorship is so strict that they have completely erased history and rewritten it in their own way, which all countries who win wars do this. A lot of our history has to be changed by the winners of every single war. I'm not denying that, but in that show, because we are aware of how history actually happened, it is so eerie to see how these people have like a black market of these tapes that show how the world actually looked like before this war and before this process that America goes through after that takeover. I don't want to spoil too much, but obviously America changes a lot to look like how Germany looked like in the 1930s, and it is truly like eerie and like creepy. And if something different had happened in history, this could have been the reality. And if something, a different roll of the dice had happened in history, you could have been born in North Korea and be living this life that these people are living, which is absolutely mind-boggling. Like, it is so close to the plot of that show, but it is actually happening in real life, the censorship in that country. So I just think it's a very interesting topic. All credit goes to Mrwhosetheboss, who initially I watched his video and give me the inspiration to like go down this rabbit hole, which is mind-blowing. And I'm very interested to know what you think about this, because I was not expecting it to be this deep, like this controlling all over the place. So let me know down below your thoughts. If you're new around here, you can click right here to subscribe to this channel, and I'll be seeing you in this video right after this one that I created just for you. Until next time, bye.